Hey everybody, I'm back. It's Sarah, your Christian forgiveness coach, and you're watching Forgive Everyone for Everything Every Day Right Away. And today I want to talk about something called indulgent emotions. So, what an indulgent emotion is an emotion that we've gotten rather comfortable with. It's something that we kind of dive into maybe a little bit more often than we would like to, but it's not giving us results that we want in our life. So we know the way to figure out if it's an indulgent emotion or not is because it's indulgent if it's not like moving you forward, if you're not moving on. So I've realized unforgiveness can actually be an indulgent emotion. More common indulgent emotions are like worry, overwhelm, confusion, those kinds of things. But for today, I've realized unforgiveness can be an indulgent emotion. So, to kind of understand indulgent emotions a little more, I want you to think about the movie Shawshank Redemption. So, do you remember in that movie, there's the little old man, the librarian, and he's been incarcerated his entire adult life, right? So long that like being in prison for him like feels normal, it feels safe, and going out back out into the real world is scary and overwhelming. So I can remember in the movie he serves his entire life sentence, and I think he's in his 80s and he gets out of prison and he can't handle it. So parole day comes around, and he's got this big question looming in front of him, like, well, now what? Going back out into the world was like so scary. It would have taken like so much courage and moving through fear, so much negative emotion to have to open up to and move through and process. Like sometimes it seems unbearable, and for him it felt unbearable. And he chose a different route. He chose a more, what felt safer and more comfortable to him. So if you think about I think about indulgent emotions as being like that prison. Like we're there, we're in it, and it feels safe and it feels comfortable because we're too afraid of being uncomfortable to move towards fear or courage or the unknown. And so we just kind of stay in that prison. And what I realized that is when we do that, we're kind of giving up our freedom. We're giving up the chance to move on and move forward and see what else is out there for us. So I think it's important to understand where and how we might be indulging, because we can oftentimes not even be aware of it, that we're choosing that and that it might be costing us something. So indulgent emotions can be habitual. They can even be like distractions from other emotions that might need to be addressed. And then maybe that's what we're really afraid of. Sometimes I find myself indulging in emotions like regret because I don't want to face the discomfort of the growth, the courage that it takes to move past that. And remember that awful feeling of courage. Courage doesn't feel good. So I've been indulging in regret for so long that feels easier for me. It's like easy and it's just kind of slow and just kind of sad, and I don't have to really do anything. I can just be sad and I can lay in bed and I can play that like, oh, I wish I had, or if only if, what if, or I should have, or I should not have, like game, right? But you can see how that keeps me stuck, keeps me in prison. And so a lot of us indulge in like those, I don't know, kind of feelings, like worry, doubt, or confusion or overwhelm. And sometimes we just have to accept that, yeah, sometimes we don't know. Like, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't know what's going to happen if we start a new business. We don't know what's going to happen if we move forward. We don't know until we know. And other times we have to admit, we're just kind of telling ourselves that we don't know because we're comfortable in our doubt and confusion. But if we sit down and we ask our brains, now what? What if I do know? What do I know? Guess what? Your brain, I promise you, it'll come up with answers. So I've learned to never tell myself, like, I don't know. I don't do that anymore. So it's the same with like, oh, I'm too busy or I'm too tired, I'm overwhelmed, right? There's like the tiredness that we feel from working really, really hard, like let's say you're moving and you just unloaded a bunch of boxes and furniture. And at the end of the day, you're just physically tired, you're whipped. But have you noticed like that kind of tired actually feels pretty awesome? Like high five yourself and your moving partner, right? And then there's like that exhausted tiredness of the worry and the busyness that's gone on in our minds all day. And so we have to learn to be on to ourselves about that. Are we overworking ourselves? And are we physically tired? Or are we indulging in like that exhaustion and busyness energy in our minds? And so, some really great questions that I've learned to ask myself are, what emotions might I be indulging in? If I realize that I am, can I see a reason why I want to keep doing that? And what might it cost me if I do? So, what does this have to do with forgiveness? I sometimes find that we indulge in unforgiveness. Like, it feels good, it feels easy, it feels justified. And we may have been pretty comfortable with it for a while, especially in regards to a particular person or event. And it's like we don't want to let go of that because we've been programming our brain a certain way for so long. And it's kind of our default. And we want to hold on to it because we're scared of what might happen if we just let it go. But I want you to ask yourself that question. What might happen? What might actually happen if you let it go? All right. Talk next time. Bye.